Hey there, Merry Christmas! Today is Christmas Day and the dinner's cooking on the stove. I am breaking away to record my Summer Seamstress Q4 2024 report. In this video, I'm going to go over my yearly recap, my goals for the year, what I actually accomplished and what I learned along the way, and where I stand moving forward to going into 2025. If you are anything like me, you wind up taking on too many projects and then you wind up feeling kind of down that you didn't accomplish all the goals when in reality your goals maybe were either too ambitious or maybe not specific enough. Stick around for more. And while you're at it, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And 2025, that is one of my goals. The biggest goal was to get organized. I have a lot of paper patterns and digital clutter. After a certain amount of years in sewing, for me it's about a dozen, if you don't keep really meticulous care of how you store things, you might forget what you have. You actually might buy a pattern that you already have. You just might forget all of the amazing patterns that you can source. You don't have the inspiration to make something when really you have a lot to draw upon. I also wanted to tackle some of my fabric stash. The fabric has gotten a little out of control. I wanted to generally tidy up this sewing space. As I mentioned, even though it's a bigger space, it's kind of easier to let things get messy. I wanted to finish remodeling this sewing room. This is a basement sewing room. It was kind of semi-unfinished, and we did finish it. There's some nice floors, but I wanted to finish the unfinished parts. I also wanted to learn how to use my sewing projector. It had a few issues and it's just been sitting in my studio, so I really wanted to get into that. I wanted to make a lot of patterns. I mentioned I had a big pattern library and I had a big long list of things that would be nice to make, and they were kind of all over the place. I wanted to make a body double dress form. I had a Dritz petite dress form that I'd purchased a number of years ago, and it no longer really represented my shape. Rather than invest in a new dress form, I wanted to look into how to modify my existing dress form to reflect my current shape. And finally, after all of that, I wanted to make some blocks and slopers that demystified fitting for me. I am definitely different measurements than I was when I first started to sew. I know this because I always took my measurements and I can reference back how many more inches my waistline is, for example. I was thinking, oh, I just need to work out more and all of that, but I just turned 54. Part of the reason I got into sewing in the first place was to sew garments that fit me because of my height and my petite nature, and modify things I bought from the store. I have the body I have now, and I have to be realistic with that. Okay, on to what I accomplished. In terms of organization, I reviewed all the digital files I had in my computer and my cloud storage system. I created subfolders to organize them. I made some pretty binders that display the pattern envelope, and they are inventoried by type of garment. The pattern instructions and the pattern pieces are in folders in these bins here. They really are inventoried exactly like you might see them in a shop like Joann's or something. They're categorized with the letter and then the number. I feel pretty good about my organizational system. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the remodeling process, and I've given you a new angle because I want to talk about something I added here. These are these bars that restaurants have, for your order. I just got them literally from a restaurant supply shop. This was just an idea I had, and it totally works. As you can see, I've got pattern instructions and a little bit of a pattern envelope idea here. So I'm really happy with this because when I'm working on a project, I can keep the instructions above, so they're off the work area. I can see what I need to do. I can leave it there while I'm working on it. So that's a win. In terms of the rest of the sewing room, I did not get the ceiling finished. And you know what I have to say? I may never get the ceiling finished. I didn't finish the edge of this door, the ceiling, and I have to be okay with it. I think and this hole, I'm not sure where this hole came from. I guess somebody needed to do some work on the house. Oh, there's one there, and there's one here. This is the one that really bothers me, though, people. This one. Because that's right above my Cricut stuff, and insulation comes down. At least it's not over my sewing machines. I think that's ultimately, I have to patch the hole, but I don't know about the rest. And that is why you always see me at this angle, not this angle. On to other tweaking with this room. I was starting to feel a little cluttered, and I was thinking about how to organize the space better. Over to my right, is this your left? I don't know. Over to my right was sort of my Cricut crafty, paper crafty area, and I had an IKEA Norden folding table for that, and I really like that table. It's really nice and sturdy. On this side was my Sullivan cutting table, which I built, and I liked it a lot. I loved the height, that I could cut and draft patterns at that height. What I didn't really love was it was very rickety, and no matter what I tried to do to shore up those legs, the table would really move. It didn't move that great on the caster wheels, and when I was cutting, the table would move with me, and I started to really wonder if that was safe, or if I was really making accurate cuts. I feel like I was getting sandwiched in with too many desks. I have 2 large desks right here that are holding my machines, and then I had a desk on either side. It was enough. So I emptied that space, or I cleared out that space. I put the IKEA Norden table, which is now my cutting and pressing table. The con is that it's low, and I was thinking of hacking it to bring it up high, but I'm going to get into that in a minute as to why I don't think that's going to work. But if somebody has a solution for me, listen on. So that's working because the table's very sturdy, and I do like the space. I've cleared this space now, and I got all of the Cricut stuff here. I really streamlined a lot, so hopefully that works. I do have more open floor space, and I like that. And I just have a regular ironing board right now out for my pressing station, not using cutting table. Though I suppose I could. Now for that projector. Let's take a little trip. So the projector was attached to the Sullivan table, and I couldn't get that dang thing to work at all. I moved things around. I've now attached it to the desk, and I actually did get it to work. And I cut out a pair of pajamas. I did something real simple for the first time. I think that's a go. By the way, speaking of projectors, a big thanks to the Facebook group Projectors for Sewing, because that community, when I was at my wit's end, I reached out to that community, and literally within minutes, I had someone responding to my question, helping me troubleshoot and solving the problem. So, yay! Okay, what did I make in 2024? I'm pretty sure I'm going to be missing something and forget something, but so be it. Anyway, the first thing I made was a McCall's top, and I made it out of some gifted fabric. I'd never really worked with paisley. I was pretty pleased with how I cut it out. It was a super simple pattern, and I will definitely be making this again. I will be modifying it a little bit to take it in at the shoulders, because that's where my narrowest place is. I did an embroidery project for my needles to store. I completely messed it up, but it's usable. Here it is. It's usable. It's all wrong in terms of how to complete it, but I'm kind of too lazy to make another one. I made an embroidery pillow for St. Patrick's Day with the help of Diane from Above and Beyond Creative Sewing, just in time for our annual St. Patrick's Day party. I completed a knitted sweater that I started in August. I kind of thought I would finish it in time for fall. Did not. I finished it in time for Easter, but I did complete it. I also tried to finish a coat. This is the Copper Mountain coat. I made that coat a long time ago, but I didn't completely finish it. I'm going to say it's 97% complete. I made some crayons that were in the shape of music notes. This has nothing to do with sewing, but I made them as presents for my students, and they are a hit. Not technically on my making list, but I did the New Jersey wool walk, and I came away with a ton of stuff, including these knitting needles that I did not need, but they were on sale, and they're so beautiful. I mean, of course I have to have them. I completed this super cool shawl. Isn't it pretty? And it was a fun make. Oh, and also in terms of creativity, I started a garden in my backyard. And we'll have more updates on that as I continue. I made a dress. This is a Mimi G dress. And based on my current measurements, I made a size 12, where I usually make a 10. And I originally used to make an 8. when I go by the envelope measurements, I should be a 12, but this really came out a little too large. I would make this dress again, but I would make it in a 10. This is kind of a recurring thing for me, where if I follow the precise measurements, it doesn't quite work. Believe it or not, I added 2 inches to the length. Mimi G's version is like short, and I wanted something just a touch more conservative. And I'm happy with that. I would make that again. Next, I made the Mood Marisol jumper, and the fabric for the dress and this jumper came from an estate sale, and it was quite a journey to get to it. I actually bid on the fabric, and I won the bid. The fabric was acquired by a flight attendant, so she picked up fabric all over the world, and so now I have fabric from all over the world that I haven't traveled to yet. In the middle of the summer, my garden was growing beautifully, and I made a McCall's dress. This is the same pattern that the first piece I made in 2024. This is the dress version of the top. Super happy with it. Again, I kind of feel like this front piece needs to be corrected in some way, but it's really, really comfortable, and I just love that fabric. Now, I tackled the dress form. This is how the dress form looked when I first purchased it, and you can see I've split it open as far as she'll go, and she's still not wide enough for some of my current measurements. I made a separate video all about how she got transformed and how I filled her out with padding and all sorts of stuff, and I completed it. Thanks to Bootstrap Fashions, I made a dress form that is nearly identical to my shape. That garden was plugging along in the middle of summer. The cucumbers got crazy. I didn't know how aggressive cucumbers will grow. I don't think I want to have cucumbers ever again. Towards the end of the summer, I was supposed to play at an engagement party at Queen's Botanical Garden, and the bride asked me if I would wear something long and flowy and sent me an Instagram example of a harpist with this long flowy garment. I had a plan. I ran out of time. I needed something fast. Well, I made this dress out of gorgeous cotton fabric, and it's a little Holly Hobby for me, but I love it. I felt so girly in it. It was nothing like the dress that I originally planned on making. However, once I got to that garden party, I saw that every single lady had a floral dress on, so I fit in just right. I made this amazing orange jumper. I had an event at school. We were supposed to wear orange for Unity Day, and a lot of times they make you buy a shirt. I didn't want to buy another t-shirt, so I decided to make something out of orange. The only minus is I didn't consider at the time that the underside of this fabric would show as much as it does. I don't care. I love this pattern. I will be making this again. This project is from Deb Kanan, Serger project, and all of the materials are things I had lying around. That vinyl is from some tablecloths from my mother-in-law that I just have that, she hoarded and I have, and I'm cutting them up into these really cool project bags. I learned how to do some things for the first time, working with metallic thread, and all sorts of things like that. I made this a long time ago, but I didn't finish the edges. So the bottom of the cardigan was always undone. And I finally finished it in time for the holidays. I figured this is my Christmas and New Year's cardigan. It is so sheer and delicate that I can't see myself wearing this to work at school, but I can definitely play the harp with it. I think it has a lot, really cool, so I'm happy with that. And then just now, as I was desperately trying to complete some projects for Christmas, I made an emergency poof. It's not filled obviously yet. This is from Closet Core Patterns. This flower is from something that I botched on an embroidery project, and I saved the flower pieces. It's actually perfect in the center of this. That's gonna sit around and collect all my scrap. Oh, and the PJs. I made a couple of pairs of PJs, and I'm gonna make some more out of, I made them out of estate sale fabric again. These are sheets, it's kind of crazy. But I made them from the pattern projector. I was so, projector pattern, whatever. I used a projector pattern, and I was so excited. And I also used that Deb Kanan's class, and I've been making PJs since I don't know when. I've made a lot of different types of PJs that were more complicated. I really learned some new things, and there's nothing like making a pair of pajamas and like that. So thanks, Deb. Now, on to some disappointing news. Another year's gone by where I haven't made the Christmas stockings. It's almost like a joke now. I can't tell you how many years ago I got this baby lock pattern, like, oh, won't this be cute? Won't everybody love this? Have the fabric cut out, most of it. I have no excuse. It's Christmas Day. Here's my plan. You know, Christmas decorations stay up for a while. And minimally, I can put them away with the Christmas decorations. I'm not putting them in the timeout bin for another year. I'm just not. Probably leaving something out, but you can see that actually I think I made a lot of stuff. What did I learn from this? It's easy for me to make big, big, big goals, too many goals, and then feel disappointed in myself. I've discovered that's actually a pattern I have in just about every area of my life. And it's something I'm going to look at for 2025 and really try to find a kinder way to approach my hobbies, my work, my self improvement, my fitness, everything. The last class I took was something from patternreview.com, and it was called Setting Realistic Sewing Goals. How about that? It seems so simple, but I'm really glad I took that class. There was some information that was good to think about. Some of those ideas I hadn't quite thought about that way. It reinforced my thought of how I want to proceed with my workshop and crafting and basically all other areas of my life as well for 2025. Learning how to set realistic goals and being okay with the goals I set. As opposed to setting so many goals or goals that are too vague and then setting myself up for failure. I'm a teacher by profession. I know how to lesson plan, and yet I'm completely deficient in some areas of my own personal life in that. So I'm going to try to practice what I preach.
That's it for the summer seamstress. I've got a cold on New Year's Eve, but thank you for watching and Happy New Year.